to see a card that I'm not even sure we have seen on the stream today, Chip. I don't think we have, but we are going to see one copy of Lost City in Andrew Mahone's deck as well, which is very relevant to this matchup. A new stadium from the Lost Origin expansion that could come into play pretty heavily here because when you're knocked out, you go to the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile, which is pretty huge against Reggie's.
These prizes, though, for Andrew are not ideal.
Absolutely
Two
not.
Mew VMAX and 2 of his 4 energy cards. Only playing 4 energy in this entire deck, and 2 of them, the double turbos, are in the prizes. Also a cross switcher in the prizes.
I was going to say, toss a cross switcher on top of that, and a Mew V as well. So Andrew Mahone playing 4 Mew V and 3 Mew VMAX. So there is 1 Mew VMAX in deck. So Andrew's going to know pretty quickly from searching, oh, okay, there's 2 Mew VMAX in my prize cards here. Let's check out what Andrew Kenneth's prize cards are now here for the Reggie.
Looks like we got 1 Steel, 1 Drago. Not too big of a deal. Now, a couple weekends ago in Baltimore, Drew did play just 1 Reggie Steel and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball.
I remember
so
this.
He played the risk. Nobody's going to boss my Reggie Steel and knock it out. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Did decide, though, with the release of Lost City, okay, I better be safe and just play 2 copies. So it does have 2 copies of Registeel this weekend.
That's pretty huge here. So starting over on Drew's side with that Reggie Drago in the active spot here, attaching that Aurora Energy manually for the turn and an air balloon as well.
Not a great hand here, just a couple energy and a couple tools. Wants to draw a couple off of Dragon's Horde, it seems, though.
Yep, so just playing that choice belt to the benched Regice, and then drawing with that Dragon Horde ability, benching another Reggie down onto the bench here, and then I believe just going to pass it over now to Andrew Mahone. Now it is up to Andrew Mahone to really establish a very powerful first turn. Obviously going second, allowed to play supporters, and I do believe I see a Marnie in hand. That's a huge change in pace for Mew VMAX, playing disruption cards.
Right, not something, you know, we saw in the old builds, right, with the Fusion Strike energies, but Marnie is a super good card alongside this version of the deck, and especially because Andrew's got some interesting cards in his list. He's actually playing a copy of Path to the Peak, not something you would expect to see in a Mew VMAX deck. Usually Mew is looking to bump Path to the Peaks. Let's get those things out of there because I want to use my Fusion Strike systems. But with a new card that recently came out in Lost Origin, the Drapion V, which has an ability that allows it to attack for free, essentially, in this specific matchup, Andrew is able to shut that ability off with Path to the Peak and then maybe play a Marnie as well to disrupt his opponent if they are playing that combo of cards. Now, obviously not going to be super relevant in this situation. Andrew is not playing any copies of the Drapion, but definitely an interesting tech that we've seen throughout this weekend from the Mew players as a way they've adjusted to the meta.
Yeah, that is wildly interesting because you kind of consider Path to the Peak to be the arch nemesis of Mew VMAX, and now it is in the deck. So that is great to see. So Andrew Mahone setting up the bench here, 2 Genesect Vs now down on the bench and another Mew V. Just using a switch cart here, which is another new it's not a new card, I guess you could say, but a card that we haven't seen a lot of.
A new inclusion in these decks, for sure.
Thank you, Chip. New inclusion is exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, just switching, burning a card essentially with that, enabling Andrew Mahone to draw more cards off of these Fusion Strike systems with the Genesect V. This is the engine of this deck. And now going in with a Battle VIP pass as well for another Genesect V, and eyeing up that Oricorio as well.
Yeah, Oricorio could be decent. Maybe Andrew just wants to keep drawing, though, if he's got that 4th Genesect in there, which it should be available to him. Going to debate, though. Maybe just take a moment to check the prize cards. These early turn deck searches are very important, so you can make sure you know exactly what you have available.
Yeah, especially when 2 of your prize cards are Mew VMAXs. That is definitely essential there, Chip. So yeah, definitely looking through the deck, taking time to do that for sure, identifying all prize cards. And now just looking at the hand, going in with another Fusion Strike system. Obviously the rotation of that Genesect V allows us to view that a little bit better there. So we do see a Cramomatic go into hand, I believe another Battle VIP pass, but of course the bench is already full here for Andrew Mahone. And Ultra Ball still in the hand as well. There And we're just going to see the pass here.
Okay.
Back to Drew. So now we're on Drew's side here, allowing Drew to establish a little bit more of a board state. I believe that's a Marnie in the hand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Was the draw for turn there. So
Oh,
really
that's great.
a pretty nice grab to be able to find a supporter card, because otherwise Drew was really going to be relying pretty heavily on the Pokestop and the Dragon's Horde, hoping to find something there.
Not only that, but Andrew Mahone's hand was kind of stacked.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of cards in there as well. So that is definitely a good play here and sort of a saving grace on Drew's side here. So let's see, off of these 5 cards that Drew gets to draw, and Andrew Mahone, of course, drawing into 4 as well, what we see, we're going to see an Energy Lotto here from Drew.
Yeah, great inclusion in this deck where you play so many special energy. Of course, we see Energy Search and Capacious Bucket make their ways into decks pretty regularly, just because finding your energy cards is so vital. But Regigigas doesn't play any basic energy, so you can't use something like Energy Search to get your attachments for turn. You've got to be a little more risky with the Energy Lotto, just looking at the top 7 and crossing your fingers, just maybe I'll be able to to find a special energy.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. And we are going to see that gift energy being played by Drew here, something we saw in the other Reggie deck. Great inclusion as well into this deck too. We saw Zach Lesage utilizing the gift energy very well.
Oh yeah.
So now passing back over to Andrew. Andrew versus Andrew. This is Andrew Mahone here on this side.
I've always known Andrew Kenneth as Drew.
As Drew.
Yeah.
I guess that's helpful, Chip. That's helpful.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. So Andrew working with a new hand here from that Marnie that Drew played. And we are going to see a Cramomatic. This is a heads or tails situation.
Needs to hit this.
Oh.
It is a tails.
Did not hit it.
Doesn't find it, but still has plenty of draw. It would have been really nice, though, to guarantee something specific. Still plenty of draw, though. Can't forget the ever-important power of Genesect V, and only 1 Mew VMAX in the deck, and Andrew's actually just able to find it.
Yeah, find it off that first Fusion Strike system as well. So that is great to see, especially when you do already have that double turbo energy down and the Choice Belt attached to this Mew VMAX in the active position.
Andrew did draw into his 1 copy of Lost City. So, of course, the new Stadium card from Lost Origin. Whenever a Pokemon is knocked out
on either side,
you put that Pokemon into the Lost Zone as opposed to the discard pile. And, of course, Regigigas functions by having all 6 Regis in play in order to use that Ancient Wisdom ability to accelerate energy. So in theory, if Andrew could knock out one of these Regis that Drew only plays 2 copies of and Lost Zone both copies, in theory, Drew Kenneth would not be able to stream together Ancient Wisdoms and keep attacking. Now, granted, in this situation, Drew Kenneth is actually playing 2 of this Regidrago and 1 of the other one as well.
One Regidrago, though, is... Oh, yeah, you're right. There's 3, because 1 is in the prize cards, Chip.
That's true,
So there's only 1 left in deck if this one gets knocked.
So he does have 3 copies available, and he's actually not playing Hisuian Heavy Ball, which is something that has been a staple in the Regigigas deck. So that's really interesting as well. Just thought, say, hey, I'm playing 2 of all of them this weekend. I don't need to worry about Heavy Ball. I needed it last weekend when I only had 1 Registeel, right? But...
That's actually pretty wild. You know, I didn't even look for that in the list, Chip.
You just assumed it's there, right?
I assumed it was there, yeah. But that means, yeah, there's only going to be 1 Regidrago. I guess Drew, I'm sure, feeling happy that they're playing 3.
Yeah. Something really important to note, though, Andrew did choose to discard a double turbo energy, which means the double turbo energy that's on this active Mew VMAX is actually his only one available until he starts to take prize cards, because he's discarded 1, has 1 in play, there's 2 in the prizes, and I think his Silene actually already hit the discard pile too, so he's going to need to find like Palpad or something like that if he wants to pull off another energy if this active Mew goes down this coming turn.
Yeah, that is actually pretty brutal. I'm wondering if Andrew...
Oh, is that the Silene there in the hand still, maybe? I think so.
Potentially, but we are going to see a boss here. Yeah, for that Regigigas, bringing it up. And if we are going to see the we will be seeing the knock here from Andrew Mahone, which means that Lost City is going to go into effect. So that Reggie is not hitting the discard pile. It is not able to be retrieved. It is going straight to the Lost Zone for Drew.
And this does a few things for Andrew. It puts the pressure on Drew to find another
Yeah, I was about
Regigigas,
to
which
say, Chip.
he does manage to do right away. But it also is going to pressure Drew to find a counter stadium. And by playing Boss's Orders and attacking into the Regigigas, he did not attack into the gift energy that's on the Regidrago, meaning Drew Kennett did not get to fill the hand back up.
Yeah, most definitely. And 2 scoop-up nets there discarded to that Professor's Research from Drew's side. That hand, I believe, only had a Marnie in it as well.
Right.
So opting to play the Research over the Marnie here on Drew's side, drawing into a fresh 7 cards. Because like you said, Chip, there needs to be a counter stadium here, but I don't think we see it in this hand.
I don't see it in the hand, and we actually need to see quite a bit more here from Drew if he wants to manage to pull off an attack. There's the Registeel in hand, and the Ultra Ball can find Regieleki, but he, I think, is going to still need an Aurora energy to at least attack with Regidrago this turn.
Regigigas being discarded to the Ultra Ball as well, but there was 2 Ordinary Rods in hand at least, so there's always the potential, as long as they're not in the Lost Zone, you know?
Right. So Andrew now has the information. Drew is playing 3 copies of Regigigas, and this is something that we've seen from pretty much all of the Gigas players because Gigas is the main attacker in this matchup specifically.
You need all the knowledge, the wisdom.
Right, all of the wisdom necessary. And also, Mew is pretty much the only deck in the format right now that's playing Lost City. So since it's the most important attacker for this matchup specifically, arguably the most important Regi in the deck in general as well, it's definitely the best one to play 3 copies of.
Yeah, also there's only 1 Lost City, so as soon as it gets bumped, it is out of play here.
Right. Unless there was like some Silene play or something
like
like
that,
right?
true. Yes,
yeah.
that's true.
But that
if
is
the
like
Silene is in the hand as we thought, not in the discard pile.
Yeah,
I don't think
No, it's there. Yeah.
You saw it? Okay.
Yeah, yep.
All right, so we could see some Silene plays then potentially.
And I think Andrew hung on to it specifically because he knows like he wants the
Lost City
option to get the Lost City back into play. Also, maybe to get back in energy if he didn't hit one off the prizes, but I do believe he actually did take an energy from the prize cards. So
yeah, so there's a lot of interactions happening here that we are casting right now, Chip, and it is going to be an intense rest of this match as well.
Another scoop-up net being burned, and this is almost a defensive play from Drew Kenneth.
Yes,
doesn't want his Gigas to get bossed and lost zoned because he was unable to find the counter stadium. And Cross Switcher is going to bring up the Registeel here on Drew Kennett's side. Mahone can, of course, send up the Mew V. It does have free retreat. Also has Silene in hand as the supporter option.
Yep. All right, so here we go. Yeah, here's the Silene play from Andrew Mahone. There's 1 flip. That is a heads. And this is a re-roll, I think.
Yeah, I think
here.
It flew off the table.
Yep, happens very often here. So let's see if this is going to be 1 or 2 items retrieved out of the discard pile for Andrew Mahone. It's going to be 2.
Wow,
that
huge.
is great. That is definitely great. But as we see, the Lost City is not in the discard pile yet. So that Silene. But there is Pal Pad here that Andrew Mahone plays in the list as well. I think we saw it in a former hand.
Andrew's eyeing up the Echoing Horn. I wonder if he's going to try to make things as difficult as possible for Drew, because Drew's actually played a ton of scoop-up nets. So if there is like another Regidrago in the discard pile or another Regice or something like that, and Mahone can pull that piece back into play, that would make things so awkward for Drew Kennett.
All right, so picking out a Hyper Potion and
looks like it
maybe that energy
won't be the Echoing Horn then.
Yeah, it was debated there, but not the final picks from Andrew Mahone. But that energy coming back out could be pretty crucial, as we've already identified the others are in the prize card. So we are going to see the Pal Pad being activated now. It was still in hand from Andrew Mahone. So Boss's Orders and that Silene going back into the deck, which is pretty essential, especially if this Lost City, as we discussed before, gets put into the discard pile. Silene could potentially search it out later to be an alternate way to a win here from Andrew Mahone. So shuffling up the deck now.
Yeah, and I wonder if this decision from Mahone to bring up the Registeel is like maybe in the back of his mind, remembering the fact that Drew Kennett only played one Registeel.
Oh, yes. Yeah, true.
But I'm sure Andrew's totally expecting this Registeel for there to be another one this weekend. The meta's obviously changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
But in theory, if Andrew can bring back this Lost City again, assuming Drew can even find a counter stadium, and then Andrew could Lost Zone another Registeel, Drew does only play 2 copies of that card, so that would mean that Ancient
Isn't the
Wisdom
other one in the
couldn't
prize
be.
cards too,
Oh,
Jim?
you're right. It actually is
Registeel's
in the prize cards.
cards.
But Andrew has no way of knowing that. But that is definitely going to be huge here.
And
Wow,
it's
and
also-
especially wait, yeah,
It's
'cause
at the top too.
and Andrew does not, or Drew
The
Kennett
ball.
doesn't play heavy ball.
No.
So this attack here into
Oh
the
my
Registeel
gosh.
is way more impactful than I think we even realized at
yeah,
first.
and the Registeel's at the top of the prize cards, if
Yeah.
I do recall. So that it might not even be one that.
Yeah,
look
look
at,
at it.
Oh no no no! This is a play. Lost City is coming in very crucial to this matchup right now because this Registeel's going down, and wow, and there is no other Registeel.
Wow, and I wonder if Drew is aware that that second one is in the prizes. I wonder if that's something yeah, I imagine he probably checked for it
Yeah.
pretty quickly, right? But yeah, there is no heavy
Oh,
ball
no.
here, so he's going to have to manually power up an attacker.
That is not where you want to be with a deck that is kind of built around powering up energy from an ability. So this is going to be difficult. Drew activating a Marnie here. 5 cards to the hand for Drew and 4 for Andrew Mahone.
And Drew does miss the Aurora energy here, so he can't even get off an attack with the Regidrago. It's just going to be Speed Lightning to the Alecki. 1 card away
Wow.
from finding that Aurora
1
to
card
attack.
away. The Aurora energies have just been running from our Regi players today
They
on
really
stream.
have.
That is wild here. And of course, all of our Regi players play 4 copies of them, but they just can't seem to find them at the correct times, unfortunately. But we did see that speed energy attached to the Regilecki on the bench, which allows you to draw 2 more cards into that energy, an additional card there for Drew, and just debating where to go from here.
Just a pass.
Just a pass over to Andrew Mahone. Lost City is still in play here for Andrew Mahone, so just taking out more of these Regis, and they're going to the Lost Zone. That is huge.
Every single turn that this Lost City stays in play, it gets harder and harder for Drew Kennett to win this game. It just is such a bad card for the Regigigas deck, and it's really generally not a problem. Drew is playing multiple Path to the Peak, 2 copies of the card, and also 3 Pokestops. So, I mean, this is the deck that plays the most stadiums in the entire format.
Yes, and none of them have showed up for Drew here yet. That is just absolutely wild to see. So Andrew Mahone just running away with this setup right now. Of course, as we noted before, there's only 1 Mew VMAX that is currently in play unless Andrew Mahone grabbed one out of the prize cards potentially.
I don't think just yet. He did grab a crossed switcher though,
Yeah,
so
there
there
we
is still
go.
2 VMAX, but he did get the cross switcher, which is like a switching card. So
that's true.
This Mew VMAX cannot attack this turn. He'll need to find some way to get it out of the active, and Cramomatic is not a bad start.
That's 3 Cramomatics in hand for Andrew Mahone here.
Gonna start with the Trekking Shoes though.
Sequencing here, starting with the Trekking Shoes. So looking at top card, deciding if you want to discard it and go for another card. Oh, wow, both Marnies.
What do you know?
That is definitely something that can happen there. So Cramomatic, it is going to be a Tails here, but at least just throwing the Battle VIP pass, which is just Cramomatic fodder at this point.
Yeah, can cram away the other cram in his hand, so we could still see one more flip this turn. Looks like he will go for it. Big flip, let's see it.
It is a heads.
Very
Here we
nice.
go. Andrew Mahone getting access to any card from his deck. So very strong card. Of course, you have to discard an item card in order to be able to even get the chance to flip that dice here. So let's see what Andrew decides to go with. Any card is available to him at this point. So this is kind of a crucial decision here, Chip.
Could go for a cross switcher and just hope to draw into the other one, and that looks like where he is leaning. He has used switching carts already, burned them earlier on in the game to draw more cards with Fusion Strike system, so there's no easy retreat into Genesect, switching cart into the Mew VMAX to reset that effect of the cross Fusion Strike copying Technoblast, so is going to have to do it the hard way. Let's see if he's able to find that other cross switcher. He does have the Silene in hand, but we'll just draw 3 here first.
All right, let's see if we can find it. Nope, there is a boss's order there. Another battle VIP pass and an energy as well. We're going to go in with the Silene.
Needs one heads.
One
That's
heads.
a tails. He just needs one
There.
and does hit it. So
Nice.
he'll be able to now put any one card from his discard pile on top of his deck and could grab the... will be the cross switcher. I was going to say he could also grab the switch cart in that spot, so that way he's still got access to cross switcher later on in the game, because by using one cross switcher here, he's not going to be able to play another one the rest of this game.
Wow, okay, here we go. The cross switcher play, switching up that Regigigas there. Oh, wow, okay. So we're working, I believe, is there still the option of one Regigigas for Drew?
He does play
so.
3 copies, so
we
should
are
have
see
one more, but this is getting a
Yeah,
little tough.
this
He
is
does finally
desperate
find a
here.
stadium.
I was about to say, there's got to be a top deck stadium for Drew here, because we have just avoided it for so long up until this point. And that's exactly what happened. So Andrew Mahone going down to 3 prize cards by taking that knockout. Of course, that Regigigas. Oh, and that is going to be it here. Drew scooping up there, realizing this is just way too difficult of a situation here. Me missing so many stadium cards for so long, and having that lost city in play essentially the entire game. That was the only stadium we saw for that game, Chip. So that was just so detrimental to Drew's deck there.
Absolutely. So this is a big win here for Andrew. Going up 1-0 in this round 8 match. Both of these players at 6-1 are feeling pretty good, but a win here guarantees them day 2. And I mean, both of these guys, they're former regional champions. They like to make day 2 of these regional championships, but they want to push themselves forward and really get these wins. They're really after the wins in these tournaments.
Yeah, they're trying to put themselves at the best record possible, which is exactly what we're saying. But like I said before, Chip, there is no lack of skillful play here from both these players. I think we just saw some pretty unfortunate luck on Drew's side here, but both these players are performing exceptionally well in this matchup, playing to all of their outs, and it's just so great to see 2 exceptional players on the stream that we get to cast here for this match. All right, so we are just setting up for our next game between these players. It looks like they're just chatting it up and having a ball down there, Chip, unfazed by the pressure of the stream. I mean, I'm sure Andrew Mahone, being very comfortable on stream, does this literally every day, pretty much. So
he is not scared of the camera, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's in a much jollier spirit as well, kind of being on the 1 of the 0-1 right now. But yeah, just seeing the unlucky draws there from Drew was pretty rough. I know Drew still a very good spirit at this point, still laughing it up and kind of joking about it, but hopefully we see a better setup here for Drew, maybe potentially no Pokemon in the prize cards, because as you said before, Chip, there is no ball. There's no Hisuian heavy ball here.
Really
for
hoping
Drew.
to not prize the double Reggie in some fashion, right?
Yeah,
double ice, double rock,
be,
any of them.
Oh
it's
my goodness. I mean, the percentage is always there. It's not likely, but I guess it's not impossible. So that could definitely be something that happens, which would be very unlucky at this point. But yeah, Drew, as we said already, at Baltimore, played only a single copy of the Registeel, so I guess just kind of hoping that luck is on his side for these matches.
And in his first stream game, we had him on versus Piper in day 2, and he played the 1 steel and the 1 heavy ball. But in his first game against Piper, he prized the steel and the heavy ball, instantly conceded the game and moved on.
Yeah,
so,
I guess he might as well.
I mean, there's nothing he could have done, right? So he just wanted to get on through the game. But ultimately, it ended up being a great run for Drew at that tournament. Got into top 4 at the event, and I think we are getting word here. There was a little bit of an issue in the last game. I think that Andrew Mahone might have drawn an extra card off of one of his Fusion Strike systems there at the end. Drew up to 7 instead of 6. That, I think, is what they're looking at here. Just want to make sure everything is all good. But yeah, from Mahone's body language, it definitely looks like he is very aware that he may have made an error here.
Wow, yeah, that's actually one of the most common errors, I think, with these Mew VMAX decks. It's happened very, very frequently as well. it's very easy to draw an extra card when you're not keeping track of
Yeah.
all the Pokemon you have in play. That's something that happens quite frequently. So that would be definitely unfortunate. It looks like they're just chatting it up right now,
Yeah, I
trying
think
to
they're
decide
gonna
what happens.
They're going to review the footage to make sure. I mean, we
Okay.
don't want to issue out any penalties or anything like that if it's not necessary. And I don't think it would have ended up mattering in that game. I mean, Andrew Mahone was in a great spot, and Drew conceded the next turn pretty much immediately after anyway. But, I mean, regardless, you got to play by what your cards do. You know, if
Yep.
you drew an extra card and it doesn't get caught until the next game. I mean, I'm sure Andrew would have much rather taken, if he's going to get so what would likely happen here
Yeah.
is if it does get reviewed and there was an extra card drawn, it will most likely be a 2 prize card penalty.
Yeah, for the next one.
And since it didn't get caught during the game that it was happening in, that means that it will be assessed on game number 2, which would be
Oh,
really,
wow,
really
okay.
bad for Andrew Mahone because
Yeah.
he was going to win that first game regardless. I think he would have been fine taking a multi-prize penalty
Yes.
in that game
That's
because he was going to
true.
win regardless. But
That is very true.
it's just how it ended up happening. You got to be really careful with those extra card draws, and we can see our judges up on the table. They're discussing now, and that's head judge AJ Schumacher there, definitely one of the most experienced judges in the game. So he's going to be
Yes.
listening in and trying to figure out exactly what's happening. They're going to make sure things get sorted out.
Yeah, we are, many judge calls happen on stream sometimes. But like you said, Chip, that's just the name of the game. You know, you're going to make
Yep.
mistakes. It's inevitable at some point in your Pokemon career. And just being able to decipher how those mistakes can be made up with, what proper penalties need to happen. It's something you just have to, accept and move forward with and do your best from there
Right.
because that, like you said, that's the name of the game pretty much. So
Yep.
it is very crucial to get proper, judge calls and readings and stuff too, which is why we are going into a little deliberation here. Andrew looking very distraught though. That is for sure.
Definitely. I mean, and it's not a fun penalty to take, especially in a spot when
No.
if it had been applied to the game it happened in, you would be fine with it because you were going to win, win that
Yes.
game regardless,
But
right?
nah, especially
But if
since
it gets
this
assessed
is-
on this second game, that is a
Ugh.
big deal.
Definitely. That is actually a huge deal. And it's really going to come down to what the line is, where it crossed over, I suppose, as well. And we'll have to see what the conclusion is. So
Yeah.
much on the line here. This is, of course, both these players playing to get in to our day 2 of this event. So this is a big, big call here.
Absolutely, and we can see the judges are deliberating, of course, going to inform the players exactly of how everything is going to go down, and we will update everyone watching along as soon as we know the exact details of whatever ruling is being given.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I don't think there's any foul play here by any
No,
means.
definitely
Mistakes
not.
happen. Like you mentioned, drawing an extra card is easily one of the most common mistakes players make, no matter how long you've been playing. I mean, Andrew Mahone has played in dozens of
Yes.
regional championships. He has won a regional championships, and he's surely been assessed penalties before for making mistakes. Like, it just happens. It's part of the game. But now it becomes, how can he recover, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
So we have gotten an update. It does appear that a double prize loss was given, but was assessed to game number 1.
Okay.
So that means it will not affect this second game. So that is probably the ideal situation there for Andrew Mahone. So a little bit of deliberation. I mean, and obviously that penalty will be noted moving forward. You know, if Andrew was to draw multiple cards later on in the tournament, you know, judges may have to escalate as they see fit. But those things are tracked, so it's important to, even though it didn't end up mattering if it's assessed to game number 1, it's important to, you know, have those penalties issued so that they can be tracked appropriately.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There definitely needs to be a track record so that you don't continue to make the same mistake over and over again, pretty much, because that's definitely a problem from there. But I can almost guarantee you, I don't think we're going to see that mistake again from Andrew Mahone in this matchup here.
He's going to be drawing every card
Counting
very
it out,
carefully.
yes,
And you know what's
yeah.
actually really funny? Whenever Drew won, Drew Kenneth, whenever he won the Salt Lake City Regional Championships, he got a multi-prize penalty in top 8 for drawing an extra card.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
it
he's
is
been
very
in
common.
the exact same seat that Andrew's in right now. You know, it can be a little
Absolutely.
nerve-wracking, but these guys are true professionals of the game. They'll be able to bounce
True
back and
professionals.
recover no problem.
Yeah, I'm glad that we caught that for sure. And it's good to see these things happen on stream sometimes too, just to familiarize everyone with the transparency of the process, you know?
Absolutely.
All right, so here we go, looking at those prize cards. Drew is in luck here. There's not only, you know, the lack of 2 of the same Pokemon in the prizes, but there's not So that's great for Drew. So we are hopping into this match now. We actually already saw a full turn here played by Drew, just attaching that Aurora energy, nothing else from the hands being played. And now we're just over on Andrew Mahone's side now. Cramomatic hitting a tails, unfortunately, discarding that echoing horn along with it. And we are going to see a benched Mew V. There are no Battle VIP passes in hand, at least at this point for Andrew Mahone, but there is a quick ball.
This hand is a little awkward, though, because do you want to quick ball away a cross switcher? I mean, not really,
no,
right?
Not really, yeah.
So that's what Andrew's having to debate here. And we actually have already seen his prize cards. He did prize his Silene, so not going to have an option to, like, recycle one. I think it's kind of something. Well, we're going to spin the wheel with Pokestop first, it looks like.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow, that is so bad. A third cross switcher and an energy and a Mew hit the discard pile.
Oh, wow, this Pokestop. And then we are going to have to see the discard of the cross switcher anyway. So it was almost like it happened, but now there's 2 more cards, 2 more resources that you're down, unfortunately, for Andrew Mahone. Resources that I don't think you want to lose. So hopefully not the end of the world here from Andrew Mahone, still outs here. But we are now going to see the search with that quick ball and the discard from it to search out another basic Pokemon. Also looking through the deck, making sure that Andrew's familiarized with potential prize cards as well, and opting for the Genesect V, of course, to come straight down to that bench.
Something we need to note as well, there was a 5-minute time extension given to these players for the time that it took to make the judge ruling. Our clock does reflect the time extension, though, so you can see that there's just about 25 minutes remaining. And I think it's just going to be a Fusion Strike system for one singular card.
Yeah, look, emphasizing that it is one card here. Oh, wow.
And he's going to ditch the switchers.
Oh my gosh, that must have hurt, Chip. Ultra Ball discarding 2 cross switchers when one was already in the discard pile from the quick ball as well. But it is essential at this point because that Genesect V needs to be able to draw into more cards for the setup for Andrew Mahone. So drawing out that Genesect V, there is no hand currently for Andrew Mahone, so able to go into a fresh Fusion Strike system for 4 cards now.
Will be a full new 4. Won't have those switcher options unless Silene gets taken off the prizes much later on in the game. Wanting to set up a little bit more, though, and Andrew is able to do so, finding a VIP pass, but actually, we're just gonna Ultra Ball that thing.
Wow.
Get it out of here. Wants to thin the hand down much more and didn't want to Ultra Ball away the Marnie, which is the last card. So it really does make sense, even though VIP Pass could get you 2 Pokemon, Ultra Ball only gets you 1. You end up seeing more cards. I mean, actually, it's just going to be a play of the Marnie before the next Fusion Strike system anyway.
Yeah, most definitely. So, and yeah, that was the only card in hand here for Andrew Mahone, so just going to draw straight into 5 cards, while Drew on the other side drawing 4 cards as well. So we are going to see the cut and then the draw of those 5 cards. Let's see what they are. This is the first turn still for Andrew Mahone setting up here.
Drawing 1 at a time, 5 cards here for Andrew Mahone, and does find a Battle VIP Pass, so can get 1 more Pokemon in play. I actually think the only Pokemon he can get here is the last Mew V. 1 Mew V's hit the discard pile, and then in the prize cards there's a Genesect and an Oricorio.
Oh yeah, the Oricorio is not
actually
in there.
He could technically get the Drapion V that he plays,
a
little tech that he's got for the mirror match, but I think that he's happy to leave Drapion chilling in the deck right now.
Yeah, I guess we got to mention all of the potential cards here, but definitely Chip on that one. So we are going to see that Mew V come out of the deck here and hit the bench as well. So let's see what else Andrew Mahone can do here. Choosing to attach the choice belt to the active Mew V card, so a little 30 damage buff if you are playing against V Pokemon, but not going to be applicable at this turn in this match. So burning that card.
Thin that hand down, draw a couple extra. Also playing Power Tablet, not really a card that's super relevant in this matchup. Maybe if you were to want to Psychic Leap at some point, but usually as the Regigigas deck, you're hoping that you're taking 1-hit KOs on these Mews and not even giving them the chance to Psychic Leap.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should be taking 1-hit KOs on Andrew Mahone's side as well. So emphasizing
Yes.
not really needing those power tablets. All right, so we are back over here on Drew's side now. We are going to see a professor's research into a fresh 7 cards for Drew. No Pokemon from those 7 cards, though. And is there
Yeah.
outs to seeing those Pokemon? I don't think I saw any ball cards or anything either, but we are going to
Ooh.
see that Pokestop. Unfortunately, all of those cards hitting the discard pile, one of them being one of the Pokemon needed to put onto the bench here. So that is unfortunate.
Not the
Oh,
best.
there is the Registeel in hand.
Has the Registeel, but doesn't have the Gigas or the Rock. And Rock
Yeah,
hit the
Rock's-
discard pile, so
Rock's
Speed
gone.
Lightning can draw 2, and that's not any help right there.
No. Oh, wow. So here we go. We are kind of seeing the downfall potentially of this deck. The crutches, I suppose you could say,
Yeah.
of the Reggie sometimes.
And this will be the problem with the Regigigas deck every once in a while. It is just a little clunky to get set up. But if you can eventually get firing, you know, if once things just kind of get rolling for you, it's really hard to stop. But it's just getting to that point where you're rolling is the difficult part.
Yeah, especially when you're facing off against a deck that can just steamroll you.
Yes.
You know, the power of Mew VMAX is strong, and we have seen it time and time again just get set up so quickly and just overpower their opponents. So Andrew Mahone, it looks like we went in there with a trekking shoes, I believe,
Yeah.
and I think the card was kept.
No, ended up ditching the Mew VMAX.
Oh, okay,
and then
ditching Mew VMAX.
grabbed one more card, grabbed the Quick Ball, which he's now
Perfect.
playing. And I think what he's digging for here is potentially the Lost City. Wants to go ahead and start applying that pressure, try to send this Regieleki to the Lost Zone. And then in theory, later on, he could bring up another Regieleki from Drew's side, Silene, get back the Lost City, and then go from there, try to take out that Alecki so that Drew Kenneth's just not going to be able to recover those energy cards.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to see the showcase of that Drapion V, but not being played.
Well, it does need
It's-
to go to the hand, though.
Yeah, it is being drawn out of the
Yeah.
deck into the hand here off of the quick ball. And, but yeah, being thinned out of the deck, of course. We're going to see another trekking shoes here into a trekking shoes.
Yep.
It's going to be kept into another trekking shoes. That's going to be ditched to the Battle VIP Pass. And then we are going to see the Cramomatic being drawn off of like a several sequence card. And it hits heads. Here we go.
There we go.
So option gives Andrew Mahone the option to draw any card out, of course, eyeing up that Lost City and putting it right on top, still weighing the other options, but that is definitely a strong one here because if Andrew Mahone can do the same exact strategy as last time, that is going to be super strong. But Drew does have a Pokestop in hand.
Yes. So Drew will have the counter stadium that he was unable to find in game number 1. But let's also remember, Andrew just needed to get this in play this turn so
Yep.
that he could use his abilities. Of course, Path to the Peak shutting down the Fusion Strike systems of the Genesects, now online, able to fill this hand up to 6 cards every single turn. And once for each Genesect as well, one of the most powerful abilities in the history of the game.
Yeah, huge emphasis on that. As we said, the Path to the Peak is the arch nemesis of the Mew VMAX,
Yep.
but it's kind of on its side in the deck as well at this point. But yeah, definitely needing to bump that to be able to draw those cards with the Fusion Strike systems off the Genesect Vs, the main draw engine of this. I guess the really, yeah, no, I guess not the only draw engine because this does play some disruption, some Marnies and
Yes.
such as well. But yeah, the main draw engine for sure for Andrew Mahone's deck. All right, so we are going to see the manual attachment of that double turbo energy onto the Mew V in the active position.
Does have the option to use the Cramomatic in hand. It is the last cross switcher, but he might want to hang on to this one cross switcher just in case he can pull off some Silene shenanigans later on.
Yeah, more cards drawn off that second Fusion Strike system. Another Cramomatic going to the hand and a Quick Ball as well. We might see, let's see, a power tablet coming down for Andrew Mahone, potentially being discarded to something else.
Yeah, I think he wants to thin the hand down some way. He's just
Yeah.
figuring out what's the best option. Starts with
Yeah.
the Cramomatic. It does hit a Tails.
A lot of sequencing here, a
And
lot of
another
cards.
one.
All right, discarding the power tablet this time. Heads
The
or tails?
spin!
Oh, another tails as well. So no option to use those Chromatics, but the hand has been thinned down now, and we are going to see that third Fusion Strike system into these 4 cards, of course, being meticulously picked up out of the
Yes, one at a
deck.
time.
One at a time.
And I think Andrew here, I mean, he's got everything he needs this turn. He's got the Mew V Max on the bench. He could have just retreated, but he's really just wanting to get through the deck here so that if Drew counters this Lost City with a different path to the peak, he would be able to, you know, get through the deck a little bit more, just be more set up and be able to withstand that ability lock.
Yeah, most definitely. Thinning out the cards you do not want to be drawing into. That can kind of save the day here. So we are going to see the knockout there. Of course, that Regieleki going into the Lost Zone. So technically, Drew has one card in the Lost Zone right now. Andrew Mahone drawing a card from the prize cards, of course, as well. We are going to see a manual attachment of a capture energy onto the Regiseal in active position, allowing Drew to draw out another Pokemon from the deck, basic Pokemon, and putting it straight onto the bench.
He needs to find his last Regieleki and needs to find Regirock and Regigigas. It looks like Rock will be grabbed off of the capture energy. Now, we actually could see Registeel go in as an attacker here. It does 220 damage, minus 50 damage for each star on your opponent's retreat cost.
Oh, which is nothing.
Which is nothing. So just 220 damage. Besides Gigas, it's actually your best hitter into the Mew VMAX.
Yeah, that's a really good point because you don't usually see attacks from the Registeel.
No.
But here we go. We're going to see the Pokestop here. All of those cards except for the Stadium going into Drew's hand, the Ultra Ball and the Energy Lotto as well off of that Pokestop.
Still missing the Regigigas, though. There is an Ultra Ball in hand, so that will be an option. I don't know if he's got all the necessary energy in the discard pile, so that could be what he's looking for here with
the
this
Energy Lotto.
Energy Lotto, and he doesn't find a single energy card.
That's pretty wild. Unlucky draw there. I'm sure Andrew Mahone also being pretty happy that that Pokestop was not a path to the peak.
Yes.
As well.
Yep.
We're going to see an Ultra Ball discarding an Aurora Energy and a Scoop Up Net going for that Regigigas. Putting it down on to the bench here. So just missing one more piece of the wisdom.
Yep, and there it is, ready to go. We'll actually just retreat. And actually, if Drew has the... Does he have Choice Belt in hand? Oh, no, it doesn't even... I know he does need Choice Belt. He's doing 310 here, so he needs still one more modifier. Or he needs to do 310. The Mew VMAX, of course, having 310 hit points. And it's actually just going to be a Gigaton break, swinging for 300 damage. 150 plus 150 more if your opponent's active Pokemon is a VMAX. Look at all those dice coming down onto Mew.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of damage counters here right now.
And this would be a great time for Andrew to
about to say,
for the Psychic
Leap.
But he doesn't have any of his power tablets. He's just been burning them the whole game.
That is very true.
This is just a situation that so rarely comes up in this matchup.
Yeah, that Psychic Leap doing the 70 damage, and then you hop back into the deck as well with the cards attached, I believe, to the Pokemon.
Right, right.
So everything goes back into the deck pretty much. Oh, there is a Choice Bell here. That is a damage modifier, but of course it doesn't apply because we are playing, not in this instance. It's only a damage modifier against V Pokemon. So that's not going to apply, but still being burned out of the hand here from Andrew Mahone. And let's see what else is in this hand to work with. Searching through the discard pile, probably trying to see how many power tablets. Oh, I think I saw. Was it all 4?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's not.
There was
happening.
at least 3.
It's not
I saw at least 3.
Regigigas has 150 hit points. He would need to play all 4 tablets in order to Psychic Leap into this.
Yeah.
Or he would need to gust up a different Reggie and use 3 power tablets. Like, he's just used way too many.
He's discarded 3 power tablets, I think,
exactly.
too. So, yeah, you're 100% correct there, Chip. And I'm sure Drew seeing that as well. So, there's the 4th power tablet.
Yep, just going to draw one more with the Fusion Strike system.
Yep.
Has an Ultra Ball in hand, can thin a few cards out. Andrew Mahone is getting very low.
I was about to say, I don't know how much thinning we're going to see here, Chip, because that deck is already extremely thin.
Is that 2 cards there? 3 cards, maybe?
3 cards?
Wow.
Wow. Are we going to see a potential deck out? I mean, there still has to be so many prize cards to be taken. It definitely is possible. And the Silene... The Silene's still in the prize cards here, so something that can actually add some more cards from your discard pile into your deck is not available here for Andrew Mahone just yet.
He does have Roxanne, which could shuffle his hand into the deck, but that's going to rely on Drew Kenneth taking 3 prizes, right, in order to be able to play that. But I got to tell you, I think Drew Kennett would be happy to take 3 prizes here because he's only 2 attacks away from winning, theoretically. If he can just knock out this active Mew VMAX and knock out the benched one, that's 6 prize cards there, and that closes out the game.
Yeah, starting off with that Ordinary Rod here, retrieving 2 Pokemon, the Regigigas and that Regice, out of the discard pile and shuffling it back into the deck. Great retrieval card, great recovery card that Drew is playing into here.
And I think Andrew Mahone is hoping that Drew Kennett whiffs a KO this turn. If Drew whiffs a KO, which is entirely possible, is actually going to use Scoop On It to get 1 Regidrago out of play in favor of the better Regidrago with that Dragon's Horde ability. But if Drew Kennett misses a KO here, that is really detrimental, but does find the Gigas,
there we go.
the 4th card, and has Research in hand. This is huge.
That is definitely huge. Drawing into that fresh 7 cards. Let's see what they are.
Does find a Scoop Up net, so he can pick up this active Regidrago after using Ancient Wisdom and can pull off the attack here, grabbing back the 2 Twin Energies as well as the capture.
This is definitely a huge turn here for Drew. That could definitely turn the tides, being behind in prize cards, but potentially not for long. This is what you want to be playing against. You want to be taking these knockouts on these huge 3 prize Pokemon, and that is what we are about to see because of those 2 damage counters already on that Mew VMAX in the active position for Andrew Mahone. That Regigigas pulling off this move here.
And you know what's funny here is that Drew doesn't even have to find
the power energy,
all the stuff next turn. No, doesn't even have to find like the ability to use Ancient Wisdom. He's already got an energy on Regieleki. He could use Static Shock to deal 20 damage to the Mew VMAX that's got 10 HP remaining.
And then win.
And that would be the way he could close it out. So he's got the 2 attackers powered up already on the board that he needs to win this game. This active Gigas will take down Mew VMAX here. And then with a 300 damage already on the benched one, it's going to be really easy for Drew to close it out.
Oh my goodness, that is definitely a great thing to point out. It's already pretty much, it's in the cards. It's locked up on the board state here as long as nothing wild happens, and I don't think it's going to be that way. So let's see what Andrew Mahone decides to do here after that Mew VMAX falls.
Ooh, the Hyper Potion could make things a little more difficult. That's probably why we saw that extra double turbo come down. So that does take away the win condition of Static Shock, which I will admit is a little disappointing.
That would have been exciting, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe Andrew's best course of action here is to go for like a Psychic Leap. I don't know. This is definitely seeming really tough for Andrew Mahone, though.
Yeah, most definitely. And still as well, with only 10 minutes left on the clock, we're going to see a Path to Peak come into... Oh, wow. Okay. Path to Peak come into play from Andrew Mahone into a Roxanne as well, which is activated now because Drew is down to 3 prize cards left, which means Andrew Mahone gets to draw into 6 cards, and Drew is going to draw into 2 after both players shuffle their hands into their decks.
So this is Andrew Mahone's hope. Take this KO and just cross your fingers that Drew Kennett cannot piece together another attacker. And Mahone is going to go down to just 1 card remaining in the deck. So this play is also involving him hoping to take Silene or Palpad out of the prize cards, which he's prized both of those cards so far.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's also got Marnie in hand, so that's another way.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, so he's got another way to recycle cards.
Oh, let's see what the and it's the Genesect V, not the Palpad or the Silene.
Oh, but Drew Kennett got back into the Scoop Up net, and he drew Quick Ball for turn. Is the 3rd Regigigas in the deck still?
I believe so.
I think he's got it. Yeah, can just go get the Gigas, and then just powers up the active and uses Giant Fangs. Takes the KO on Mew VMAX. We're going to Game 3 here in round 8.
Wow, congratulations. Both these players now up 1-1 into our Game 3. How exciting here, Chip. I'm sure Drew very happy to see that after quite unfortunate draws on the first game that we saw. So that is definitely huge here. And I believe there was only 8 minutes. Yeah, 8 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock for these players.
Like I said at the beginning of this match, neither of these players really wants a tie. Both of these guys want to win the regionals. They don't care about making day 2, though it is nice. They just want to do as good as they possibly can, win every single match of Pokemon. So while a tie is okay, they would really love to come out of this round 8 with a win and go into round 9 at a 7-1 record.
Yeah, most definitely. So we're still going to be seeing both of these players play to all their outs here and try to secure that win and go into 7-1 positions into their day 2 sequence of events. So that is definitely what we're going to be seeing. It is going to be very suspenseful, very intense. That last match that we just saw was incredible. Chip on both sides, definitely some great moments from both these players. So much skill level on this table right now.
Shuffling up, getting ready for game number 3. 7.5 minutes remain now. There is a chance that this game does not finish, but once these decks get up and rolling, I mean, the Gigas deck only needs to attack 2 times theoretically to win. Just 2 times into 2 Mew VMAXs. That's your 6 prizes, 3 prizes for each VMAX KO. It's a lot harder for Mahone to close this game out in 7 minutes, though, because he's got to take a full 6 knockouts.
It's funny though, because you make it sound so easy, Chip, with like, oh, just take 2, just hit twice and you're chilling.
Hey, once the Gigas gets rolling.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely true, but there is definitely also a grind to get there. And look at these prize cards, Chip.
Yeah, a bunch of Gigases, or a bunch of Reggie pieces for Drew, and 3 quick balls on Andrew Mahone's side.
Andrew Mahone's side. Those are some wow. Those are some incredible prize cards, not in a good way for both these players.
But who needs quick balls when you have Battle VIP Pass? And let's see if Andrew's got access to try to draw into any more, because that would be really nice for him, especially with having 3 quick balls prize. It's going to be really hard for him to find Genesect if he doesn't get a bunch of VIP Pass here on turn 1.
Yeah, that is definitely true. There needs to be a pretty solid setup here. There is a Genesect already in hand as well that's going to be played down right now. Energy attached to that active Mew V, of course, and we're going to need to see some cards burned out of the hand. Unfortunately, the Palpad and the Silene are both in hand right now, and the Cramomatic's going to take that Palpad. Oh, oof. It is a Tails. Palpad is definitely not one you want to, a card you want to necessarily lose, but even more importantly, you probably definitely don't want to lose the Silene at this point either in some way, shape, or form. So we are going to see another Cramomatic.
Another card you don't want to lose. Yeah. And another Tails. Oh my goodness.
It must feel pretty rough losing these cards for essentially no reason, because it was the coin flip.
Oh, this hand is abysmal from Andrew. He's got the Mew VMAX to at least attack next turn, but no supporter. He's going to really be relying on Fusion Strike system for just a couple cards next turn.
Most definitely. So now we are back over to Drew's side here. Energy Lotto retrieving an Aurora Energy. Playing Energy Lotto, seeing the top 7 cards. I'm sure pretty happy that one of them was an Energy there, because that is a thick deck at this point, being only the first turn for Drew. So that is a pretty great, and especially being the Aurora Energy, being such a versatile energy to draw into. Definitely huge.
Not too much else going on in this hand. A bunch of ordinary rods, which is less than ideal for sure.
For a starting turn, definitely. Yep. But we are going to see that speed energy allowing Drew to draw 2 more cards. There is a quick ball.
And a research as well was another grab. But do you want to discard all these ordinary rods? I kind of think he's got no choice.
Yeah, that's very true. That is a good point. So we are going to see the quick ball. Drew going to be able to take a look again at the deck, make sure that he's very familiar with the prize cards as well, because there are a lot of Reggies in those prize cards. So important to make sure that resources are being managed properly in this game, because it is that much more crucial when you don't play that Hisuian heavy ball.
He's prized a Registeel, a Regice, and a Regigigas. So he probably wants to grab the Regice here, because he's got 2 Regirock and 2 Regidrago still in the deck. But actually he's going with the Regirock at this point.
All right, so going for that Regirock off of the quick ball, discarding that Aurora Energy. Looking through the deck again, just taking one quick look, and now shuffling up here as well. Like you said, Chip, are we going to see that research discarding those ordinary rods?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. It is definitely hard, but I mean, your hand is not getting advanced, and you're probably just going to have to play it next turn anyway. So I think you just got to bite the bullet and rip those cards and draw 7 new ones.
I mean, luckily there are 4 ordinary rod in this deck for Drew. So even though 2 are in the discard pile, there are 4 potential draws of it in this deck. So
And
Going
honestly,
for it.
attacking for Static Shock, I mean, we've seen just every little bit of damage is relevant because just doing 20 damage here to the Mew V makes it easier for Regigigas to take a knockout next turn with Gigaton Break.
Oh, wow. Being able to Ultra Ball 2 Aurora Energy as well. So now 3 Aurora Energy, I believe, in the discard pile for Drew. So that is definitely great. It allows you to be more versatile with your energy and where you attach it to and what you attach it to, because it's a rainbow energy, you know?
Yep.
That's pretty fantastic there. So drawing out that Regidrago as well from the Ultra Ball, scooping up the Regieleki here.
Yep.
So that speed energy going to the discard pile into the Regidrago.
Benches the Regieleki right away. Does have one more scoop up net he could burn if he wants to draw 2 off of Dragon's Horde, which it looks like that will be the case. Finding 2 cards here from the Dragon's Horde, looking for the Regice. There's a Quick Ball that can get it, and the Twin Energy. So Drew's going to be able to get off attack here with the Giant Fangs. Not too bad.
Wow, that is definitely not too bad indeed. This is kind of the setup you want to be seeing here when you are playing a Reggie deck. You want to be able to attack as soon as you possibly can.
And you know what's crazy too is that he's 1 choice belt away from just knocking out this Mew on turn 1.
That is scary for Andrew Mahone.
I mean, this is not something that you expect to happen when you're playing Regigigas. This is like the turn you dream of.
The optimal turn.
Being able to attack on turn 1. It just does not happen that often. That is an incredible turn 1 from Drew Kenneth.
Yeah, definitely showing the power that is behind this Reggie deck and why so many of our players chose to bring it today. So here we go, Andrew Mahone starting off the turn, evolving into that Mew VMAX and manually attaching a double turbo energy for the turn here. 2 Genesects on the bench, going to go for the Silene.
And another Tails. That is
so
many.
Oh
my goodness.
Gosh, 4 for 4 now on the Tails.
4 Tails in game 3 here. That is so bad.
That is definitely unfortunate indeed. We're going to see the Fusion Strike system drawing 2 cards. Cramomatic could discard that Battle VIP pass for another flip. Please be a heads is what I'm sure Andrew Mahone is hoping for.
Let's see, and it does finally land heads. Cramomatic now fetches any card out of the deck. Could it be Lost City time? Just get rid of this Regidrago. Andrew has now seen that Drew does play 3 Regidrago. He's got the 1 from Evolving Skies in this deck in addition to the ones from Astral Radiance. So he knows that there's 3 copies of this. So it's unlikely he'll be able to Lost City all of the Regidrago. Let's see what happens here, though.
Also, there's like 30 seconds left on the timer here.
That is true, yes.
We've been talking so much here, Chip, that time has slipped away from us. But yeah, there's not much time left for these players in this match.
Looks like Hyper Potion is going to be the grab. Just putting that in hand, making it hard to knock out this Mew V in 2 hits unless it is the Regigigas coming in and knocking it out once it becomes a VMAX, most likely. Only a couple cards in hand now. We'll be able to draw a bunch with the Fusion Strikes, or I guess I should say a handful with the Fusion Strike system. Not the most that we're used to seeing.
Yes, that is very true. But hopefully the accurate number that we need to be drawn. So drawing 2 here for a total of 4.
Does find the Cross Switcher, but also finds Cramomatic. Is he going to burn the Cramomatic here and get rid of the Cross Switchers, or does he go after the Gigas? That is a big question here for Andrew Mahone. And it looks like he's leaning towards taking out the Gigas. Time, I do believe, has been called, so Andrew Mahone here should be turn 0. And no, he cannot play that Marnie, though. He did play Silene this turn.
Yes, Silene was played this turn, so that has to be taken back.
Even though he did nothing with it, it did flip double tails. A supporter was played,
Yeah, I think that's also a common mistake, especially when your Silene hits 2 tails. You're like, well, it didn't actually do anything, but no, a supporter was still played.
All good. A very quick catch from our judge there, so
yeah, absolutely.
All is good.
Andrew Mahone freezing there as well. So no Marnie being activated there on this side. But we are going to be seeing the switch there into that Mew VMAX, and we could also still see those cross switchers. Well, I guess not really because the
I-
Reggie
at-
Drago, yeah.
Right. At this point, I think Mahone just wants to ensure that he doesn't lose the game. It is possible for Drew Kenneth to win by going Reggie Gigas KO 1 VMAX, Reggie Gigas KO another VMAX. So all Andrew has to do to ensure that that doesn't happen is not put a second VMAX in play, which
Yeah.
Andrew's going to be totally aware of. These time ends like, +3 turns rules get a little tricky, and it makes you play in a way that you normally wouldn't if there was no such thing as a
Yep.
time limit. But it's what he's got to do here to try to secure at least one match point in this game.
Yeah, you essentially go into defensive mode where you want to just protect your board state, I guess, at this point. But we are going to see the knockout there
Goodbye,
on that
VMAX.
Mew VMAX. Andrew Kenneth drawing 3 cards off of those prize cards.
Yeah, and Andrew Mahone realized the situation is just going to pass, takes
Yep.
the tie, and that does lock up a Day 2 berth for both of these players. So congratulations to both of them,
Fantastic.
making it into the Day 2 of the Peoria Regional Championships.
Fantastic gameplay from both of these players. What a great set of matches we just got to watch,
Yep.
Chip.
Absolutely. It was definitely a wild one there. Andrew able to win game 1 in this matchup that's really kind of tough for him. And we saw, I think, in game 2 and how game 3 was shaping up why this matchup is really kind of Reggie Gigas favored. The ability as a
Yes.
one prizer to one-hit KO powerful VMAX Pokemon is just so difficult for the Mew deck to overcome. So if you're a fan of Drew Kenneth, you definitely hate to see him take a tie to a favorable matchup. But at a minimum, like we mentioned, both players moving to Day 2. So hopefully we'll get to follow their journeys much further in our broadcast tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited, Chip. I'm so excited to be able to cast a Day 2. Usually I'm at home watching these matches on my TV, so it's really cool to be here and in the action.
Yes, absolutely. Getting to see exactly what unique decks are trying to make it in, what players are trying to fight for their spot. So many of these players who are going to be playing in this event tomorrow in Day 2, it's going to be their first Day 2.